now to some business news. Stephen Carroll joins us in studio. Stephen, I'm going to start with Coinbase, which had a very successful first day on the markets, and I slightly wish I had listened to you more closely yesterday.
The cryptocurrency exchange is now worth almost $86 billion after its stock market launch on Wednesday. This is the company that handles trades in the likes of Bitcoin, and as those assets have become more popular, this business has grown. Coinbase is the biggest crypto exchange in the United States. 3 years ago, it was valued at just $8 billion. It's now worth more than the oil giant BP. Companies working in this sector are describing this launch as a coming-of-age moment.
What it represents is a validation of this nascent market sector. There are those that thought that the whole thing was a bubble. It was nothing more than vacuous, magical, invisible internet money. This really represents a validation, particularly given that Coinbase, which is simply one of many, many exchanges, is being listed with a valuation greater than that of BP.
Meanwhile, Facebook is facing a new inquiry into a massive leak of user information.
Ireland's Data Protection Commissioner is looking into whether EU privacy rules were broken by the social media giant. That's after it emerged a database of more than 530 million Facebook users, including their phone numbers and email addresses were found circulating online. The Irish agency now has 15 ongoing investigations into Facebook and its apps. A spokesperson for the company says they're fully cooperating with the inquiry.
The International Monetary Fund says Europe could do more to help the economy recover from COVID.
The IMF says that European countries need an extra financial push of support this year, and that it's needed to combat the long-term effects of this crisis. The fund describing the economic bounce back so far as halting and uneven. It's warned that a slow recovery could create social unrest and has called for a new package of what it calls well-targeted spending by governments.
Now, late 2021 and 2022, we are suggesting an extra push and an extra effort, because that, in the end, is going to determine whether we are going to successfully limit the permanent output losses, whether they will be larger than we forecast or whether they will be less than we forecast.
Now, one of the sectors that's been hard hit over the past year has been the aerospace industry, with orders for new planes on hold. Thousands of workers in France have been laid off. Many are looking for new careers, as Catherine Viette now reports.
In the heart of France's aeronautic industry, an Airbus A350 leaves the factory. The sector has been hit hard by the pandemic. Oedig Lagarde spent 20 years in the industry. Now he's looking for a new job in construction.
Quitter ce secteur, ça m'a fendu le cœur, quoi.
And he's not alone. 8,000 jobs have been lost in the sector over the past year. Some younger workers like Rodrigue Fopucci, an aeronautical engineer, have already entered retraining programs.
Ça fait pratiquement 6 mois que je suis inactif et je me suis dit, au lieu d'attendre, c'est mieux que je m'oriente dans un autre domaine porteur.
Fopucci is part of a group of trainees who will become heating and air conditioning specialists. These former aeronautic workers have highly sought-after skills, and everyone who completes the training program will be offered a permanent job. But the conditions aren't the same. Michael Leon used to earn €2,200 a month and is now facing a big pay cut.
Je dirais dans les 600 € par mois, net. Du coup, c'est un gros sacrifice que je fais. Mais par contre, du coup, j'ai du travail, je ne suis pas à prendre les aides de Pôle emploi. J'essaye un peu de me bouger pour rebondir, quoi.
With little certainty over when air travel will bounce back, more layoffs are expected in the sector, with around 7,000 jobs thought to be at risk.
Let's take a quick look at what's happening on the markets next. European shares starting the day up. Shares in the French advertising giant Publicis up 3% at the open after their latest results, which showed a return to growth in revenues.
And finally, from you, Stephen, miniature cars from MATCHBOX are getting an environmentally friendly makeover.
MATCHBOX is bringing out a series of models based on electric and hybrid cars to reflect the switch that's happening on the roads. These models will also be made of 99% recycled materials. The first concept will be a scaled-down version of the Tesla Roadster. That'll be followed by models of other popular electric cars too. They'll also be making charging stations later this year. Matchbox is 70 years old and sells more than 40 million die-cast miniatures every year. I'm really happy to see it still going, to be honest, because it's quite a big part of my childhood.
I think a lot of people's childhoods, and not just boys, I have to point out. Stephen Carroll, thanks a lot for that look at the business news.